Hello again, everyone. Welcome to the Rome Floyd Chamber Small Business Spotlight. And we are back in studio, Thomas Kislett with the Rome Floyd Chamber.
This is amazing. This is amazing. I see you live.
How are you?
Color. Fantastic. Staying busy. With ribbon cuttings coming up. You know, you remember we signed up 181 new members. And they all want to take, advantage of their benefit, of course, now. So, we have to service them, and we're looking forward to them. And we had a great one last week with Fazoli's. That's a new place there in the East Bend. And, just looking forward to it.
Yeah, that was the successful result of the recent membership drive. You added all these new members, and we've done a recent podcast about that, so you can go back in our archive and listen to that if you're interested about more. I did want to say, as always, we are broadcasting from the Hardy Realty Studios. We work in cooperation with the Rome News Tribune, and we are coming from our studio today inside the Manus Business Center at the corner of Turner McCall and Broad Street, so it's great to be in studio. Thomas, we got a couple of great guests here. Would you mind doing the honors and introducing them?
Sure, absolutely. Today we have Austin Matthews, and he's with Matthews Lighting and Electric. Hi, Austin.
How you doing, guys?
It's good to see you.
Glad to be here.
And then we have Chad Smith, and he's with Trinity Motorcar. So,
what's up, guys?
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Chad, the life of the party, who's done the show before. This is old school to Chad.
He was one of the first ones, right?
I think he was a couple of years ago. You might have been on twice. Have you been on twice,
I've
Chad?
been on twice, number 3.
Yeah. You may go in our Hall of Fame. Maybe the third appearance is...
Can you get me a plaque or something? So
that sounds expensive.
Oh, man.
Sounds like
I'll
a new
pay
co-host.
for it. I'll buy my own plaque.
That would be sad, wouldn't it? We got you a complimentary bottle of water.
Oh, listen, that'll work.
That's yours, by the way, Thomas. Your bottle of water, and Austin, you got one out there as well.
Thank you.
In case you need to wet your whistle a little bit. Well, Austin, since you're the newbie here, tell us a little bit about Matthews. Is Matthews Lighting and Electrical?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So we've been in business for about a year now, a little over a year. Mainly specializing in residential, new construction, service work, a whole lot of kitchen renovations, bathroom renovations, a whole lot of can lights, recessed lighting in houses, stuff like that. Starting to get into some bigger stuff, a little more multi-home or multifamily homes. Pretty cool stuff. Got a guy developing a bunch of tiny homes down on South Broad, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somewhere around here.
Yeah, near the Kids Country Club. And they're going to be pretty cool. So looking forward to doing those. It's going to be different. Something you don't see in Rome, per se. So that could turn into something bigger.
Now, we were talking before the show. You're born and raised in Rome.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Armurchie. But you always kind of had this desire to do your own thing. So you worked in the industry for 10 years, but you started your own business about a year and a half ago, right?
Yeah. So it pretty much started just from back in high school. I couldn't see myself flipping burgers for $7 an hour, for 3 hours after school and stuff like that. So I decided to throw a lawnmower in the back of the truck, and that was my money, and just kind of grew from there. Right out of high school, went to school for electrical work, Georgia Northwestern, and just from the beginning, I've always wanted to do my own thing. I've always been a real headstrong person. Yeah.
Chad, you're nodding at headstrong. Does that ring a bell with you?
Man, does it? I can't even work for myself some days,
Austin, one final point here before we move on to Chad is that you started this business right in the meat of the pandemic, right?
Yeah. So
why?
That was,
Yeah.
Why? I asked myself that a lot. Why? Man, it was tough at first, but it was the right time to do it. I really enjoyed working for the last company I was with. I was only with them for about a year and a half, but they treated me really well. Had good bosses to work for, but it was one of those things where what I had in my mind, what I wanted to do, wasn't exactly what was happening, and it just wasn't the road they wanted to take. So it just felt like the right thing to do. It was the right time to do it. All the stars lined up, and yeah, it just happened to be right in the middle of the worst time to do it ever. But it's worked out good so far. Well, it's been good.
We celebrate the entrepreneurial spirit here. That's what it's all about, business and creating connections. Now, Chad, you've been on a couple of times before. You own Trinity Motorcar Company.
Yes, sir.
So give me the background again. When did you start that? What is your background? Things like that.
I was born in Albany, Georgia, and was raised up there. And I knew I was getting out of that town just as soon as I was able to on the first thing smoking. And I come up when I was about 18 years old to the Atlanta area. And I moved to Rome actually in 2005 for the first time. And when the economy collapsed in 2008 and 2009, I lost everything, went completely bust. Went to work for a man running one of the largest buy here, pay here stores in Atlanta. Did that for 6 years and come back to Rome, which I had no intention of doing. But I ended up back in Rome, and man, Rome's been so good to me.
And so how did you get in the car business?
Well, I've always fooled with cars. Like from the time I was 8 years old, that's all I wanted to do was fool with cars. So there's not many things on cars I hadn't done, and but my background's just cars all my life.
So a hobby became a career, a passion. What's that phrase that if you find what you love, it's not work, right?
It isn't. That's so true. Like I get to fool with hot rods all day, and now I got employees, so I can just go throw donuts and hot rods, man. You know, like they can do all the work, and how cool is that?
That's pretty cool. Well, and you're located out off Dean,
yes, sir.
But you also recently expanded across the street. You're on both sides.
I did.
How's that going?
It's great. So I have a real good relationship with Coosa Valley Credit Union, and opportunity to come up to buy their building that was across the street, and so we're now on both sides of the road there. We've probably got 130 cars there today. And so one of the largest used inventories in Georgia.
Wow. Good for you. So when you first started, just take us through the process. Were you nervous? Were you scared? Were you confident?
No, I wasn't. I've never been scared because I wasn't born rich, you know? So being broke I'm never scared of being broke. I know how to survive that way too, if I need to, you know? So being scared was not an issue. But for me, it was more about, I had been a failure before, right? I mean, they say the average millionaire has been broke 6 or 7 times. And so I'd been broke plenty of times before. And fortunately for me, I have a spouse and a wife who we've been married 23 years now. We got married when we were kids. Yeah. And she was all for it. You know, and I got some good training in that 6 years away. I met a mentor who really taught me how to do business. I knew how to do business, but he taught me how to go to the next level. And I found that out in life. You need some people around you that are willing to teach you something that you don't know. And you've got to be willing to learn it.
Sure. Well, and I know because we've touched on this before, the name of the company is Trinity Motorcar Company, but that's a faith-based connection for you. So how important is that to you, and where did that come from?
Well, that's number one, right? So I decided I was a terrible alcoholic. I became an alcoholic, and I had some drug issues. Man, I was not a good person back in my 20s, and about the time I hit 31 or so, I gave my life to Christ, got cleaned up, and decided to follow that path with my life. And I knew that if I was going to follow that path, I was going to have to do it in my personal life, my business life. It was going to permeate through everything that I did. And man, what a ride that's been.
Well, yeah. When did you start Trinity Motorcar?
This company here in Rome, we started in 2015.
So you've just been blowing and going for the last 6 years out there on Dean.
Yes, sir.
And sales are good. Pandemic affect you?
Pandemic did affect us in a positive way. We did more business in 2020 than we've ever done, and it was just incredible.
Well, it's funny. Why do you think that is? Because we know the housing market took off. I mean, there were obviously lots of businesses that were devastated. You know, your restaurants and bars and things like that. But why do you think it affected yours that way?
I think people were home and bored, and they wanted to do something, and we were open. When everybody else closed down, we were open. They come and bought a new car to ride around in to see the sights. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's logically, that's all I can. You know, they had money to burn and spend, and people were out buying, and we see it, like you said, in the housing market. We see it all across. There's no inventory anywhere. You know, you could try to go buy a new jet ski right now. There's no inventory. People are just buying them as fast as they can build them. It's just wild.
Yeah, it's funny.
That's a stimulus check also.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
Best practice, them. You know, but that's what it's intended for. You know, it's coming back
into the economy.
In the economy. So, great thing.
We were stimulated.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned, because you sit back and think about life at that time. The pandemic is still going on, but you couldn't go to a ball game, you couldn't go to the movies, you couldn't go out to eat. So I guess people wanted to go for a drive.
That's right.
So Austin, have you seen your business pick up slowly but surely over the last?
Yeah. I mean, I would say, we started like June 1st of last year. I would say the first 3 months were kind of just building clientele, letting people know we were in business more or less. But then it was like after the first 3 months, it was on. I mean, I almost couldn't keep up. And I can tell to what Thomas said, I can't tell you how many jobs we did, and the first thing they said was, "Yeah, we got our stimulus, and we wanted the kitchen redone, or we got our stimulus, we wanted new lighting in the living room," which is great. Like you said, that's what it's for.
So you touched on this briefly earlier, but like, what kinds of lighting are people doing, and what do you can do everything, I guess.
Yeah. So we've done lately a whole lot of under cabinet lights, and a lot of kitchens, stuff like that. Bunch of recessed lighting, can lights in living rooms, kitchens. That's been our two biggest ticket items. A whole lot of people with like fuse panels and stuff like that. Their insurance is kind of giving them some trouble, and it's time to redo it. So we've been putting in a lot of new panels and stuff like that. If you've got a fuse panel, I'm not going to sit here and tell somebody that's not safe, but it's probably time to go ahead and switch that out.
Right. So when you started the business? Obviously, you want to get the doors open, you want to generate business, but what's the big dream? Just keep growing.
Yeah. I think about that all the time, and it seems to change a lot. One day I'll be thinking, man, it'd be nice to have, a big, nice shop with 20 trucks out there, 50 guys, and just kind of managing it. And then we have a real busy week, and I'm 50 hours in, and I'm still got all the paperwork to do at home. And I'm like, it was a lot easier when it was just me changing out light bulbs, but, it's changing. I mean, honestly, right now I couldn't tell you, just keep on rocking what we're doing, get a little bigger as we go. Our average ticket last year was probably around $1,000, $1,200. If we can get that up to, doing some bigger $10,000, $20,000 jobs, which is kind of what we're doing right now. A lot of new houses. I really enjoy the multifamily, dwelling kind of stuff, apartment complexes, duplexes, townhomes, stuff like that.
Is it you and how many people right now?
I got 2 guys right now.
Yeah.
Just hired a new guy. Real hopeful with him. He's got like 23 years experience. So he's a real good one to have. Even just the knowledge he'll bring on different aspects of what we're doing,
Well, so I guess the good selling point is it's a small company, so you get personal attention for your customers.
Yeah. And one thing I can say is, if we come out to do a job, almost 100% chance, I'd say a 98% chance, or 98% of the time, you're going to have a licensed electrician at the house on the job. If I'm not doing the work, then I'm checking the work. You know what I mean? There's almost never a time where I'm not going to go behind, even my new guy. There's not a chance I'm not going to go behind and just make sure everything's good, make sure the customer's happy, make sure we clean up good behind ourselves and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of what you're getting with us.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the paperwork. There's always the part of a job where you're not doing the actual electrical work, but you're like, what are some other things maybe you did not anticipate?
All of that.
Yeah.
It's
taxes.
It seems like, yeah. Well, and I've never been a huge. It doesn't kill me to pay my taxes. You know what I mean? I just like, that's my duty to pay them in. So
Just wait.
Yeah, I know it hurts, but I'm not in the real hurt and bracket.
Well, I'm not
but
talking about the amount of money. I'm just talking about the headache.
Yeah. So one thing I learned really early on was to delegate that to someone that's their profession. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
My biggest fear was I was gonna get a knock at the door, and all right, Mr. Matthews, come with us. You didn't pay your taxes last year. You were $200 short. Come with us. You're gonna have to go spend a couple weeks in jail.
That's not going to be a knock. They're just going to come right.
Yeah, they're gonna kick the door in. That's the worst thing. And so, I got a good tax lady, and I don't have a whole lot of issues yet. But that was a big fear of mine for sure.
Perhaps we should not be talking about this on the internet.
No kidding. No doubt.
Can you give him any advice? He's got a growing company.
Yeah. Yeah. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
I started off and I like cars, right?
Yeah.
I didn't want to do all the I didn't want to do everything else that comes along with owning the business, just like what you're talking about, man. I had no intention of any of that happening, but it inevitably happens, and my 50 hours turned into 100 hours, turned into 120 hours, turned into I might as well just have slept there.
Right.
And it took me about 2 years for my infrastructure to catch up with the business.
Yeah, right.
So try to stay out in front of your infrastructure as you're growing. Be really important to keep your quality of life up.
Yeah, I appreciate that. One of the things like you said, 50 hours turns to 100, man. It's like for every 40 to 50 hours of productive business we have out in the field, it's like there's 15 hours of non-productive you have to do as far as paperwork, billing, which is something you do not want to fall behind on.
Correct.
Because you may forget for a day or two, but them customers, they don't forget. And
Yeah, rule number one is the billing goes out.
yeah, you want to make sure you get them bills out.
Get that because that cash flow. If they're paying on 30 days, it's not going to start till they get the bill.
Exactly.
Do you find yourself, because this is one thing where I also feel like Chad is obviously successful in, just the aspect of sales. You know, you're an electrician by trade, but yet you got to create relationships. You're selling yourself and your business.
Oh yeah.
But you got a great personality, and that's part of it. So have you adjusted to that?
Well, he joined the chamber.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's
I think that was definitely a good move. But yeah, so that was definitely an adjustment. I've always been, even when I work for other people, I've always been a good customer person. You know, I can talk to about anybody. I'm pretty good at reading people and matching their energy. There we go. Yeah, sorry about that.
Thanks, Chad.
Yeah, and
My co-host Chad.
Right? Yeah. You need to get this man a job.
Sorry.
But yeah, so matching their energy and stuff like that. That's probably one of my favorite parts of the job is talking to people, going and looking at stuff, trying to get what's in their mind out of their mind and put it on paper, and really paint the right picture and sell it to them.
Well, I was coming to you in a minute, Thomas, to discuss that because that is the importance of the chamber. What you guys do is create connections, and you help small businesses sell themselves, for lack of a better word, because it creates connections, right?
Right. And one of the key benefits is, that instant promotion of the business. So we are sitting here right here, right now, and we reach, thousands of people with the podcast being posted on the Rome News Tribune website, and it's a big seller for us. And then also the ribbon cuttings. That's something we need to discuss. And, we do that far in advance, so that gives you a certain amount of newsletters, and we spread the word, and then also other media outlets that we can help you with, and then of course the connection. So I talked about that at the orientation meeting a couple of weeks ago. Just I know your schedules are busy, but we have certain events all around the time. So we have some early morning events. With presentations, we have some late night ones. So just come and network, and don't be afraid to ask. So I already see like great relationships. You mentioned also mentoring. You're kind of like a business veteran, and you went through all of this. But you probably wouldn't mind sharing if you a new startup. Just locally. Make the community grow just to give some advice, and then, who knows what type of kind of relationships develop. And speaking of that, I have a question, if you just think long term, you always need a car or some type of, transportation. I heard, in about 25 to 30 years, we all have electric cars.
Yeah.
So, electric, that's the key. That's the key. But just if you think long term, there will so much things will change over the next 20, 30 years. If it's the truth. Chad,
it's not.
I know.
Chad's shaking his head. I think he's a hot rod purist. Chad wants one of those muscle cars.
I love the Teslas, man, and I've owned a couple of them. Love them, great cars. But what we found out with our analyst is that the infrastructure in America, the electrical infrastructure, cannot support. They're talking about 10 years, 15 years going all electric. There's not enough.
That's too soon.
It'll never happen that quickly. I think maybe 30 years if they start putting infrastructure in now. And so I think that you always get to a choke point in anything you want to do, and then you got to widen that choke point. And I think with electric cars, our choke point is our infrastructure and our power grid.
So you're talking about it being able to recharge the cars, like, there's a filling station on every corner now for gasoline.
Right.
Listen to me saying filling station.
I like it.
So I watched an episode of Andy Griffith this morning. So that's your point, is that because you see them sporadically here and there, but it's going to take a while.
And it's neat technology. I love it.
That's where your business can
Yeah.
grow.
Yeah. So the biggest thing, it's basically like adding another heating element in your house. You know what I mean? Like, I would say air conditioner, but it's not necessarily air conditioner. But it takes a lot of power to charge one of those cars. I've got a couple customers that have them already, that have those setups already. Once they're installed, they're pretty cool. They're simple. But like he said, I mean, the biggest thing is not going to be the ones at the house. It's going to be when you're on the road. When you're traveling, you gotta hunt down a place. It's going to take a lot of money, a lot of investment from somebody. You know what I mean, to get that done.
But there might be also a niche, with the the residential green power, green energy.
Sure.
You have to hook up somehow. If we all have to have solar panels on our roof, you're the man who brings the power from the roof
for sure.
to the kitchen.
Yeah.
So I think you have tons of opportunities, and the market is wide open for this.
And it changes. That's something that'll be a new thing. Well, I wouldn't say a new thing because a lot of people are already putting them in, but around here it's not super common. But it will be one day. I don't know if it's next year. I don't know if it's 5 years, 10 years from now.
So I'm researching solar for one of my houses now, and so I've been reading a little bit about solar, and I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. The panels don't last as long as I'd like for them to yet.
Yeah,
that's an issue: cost versus longevity.
Yeah.
But I like the idea.
Yeah, we put years ago. I worked for another guy, and we put the one down in Cave Spring, that really big solar field out there. Super cool experience working on it. We just happened to do it when it was going to rain every day, and it's in the bottom of a hill, and it was a mess, but it's super cool stuff. Yeah. And it's starting to get big too right now. Solar is.
I just wonder what they're going to do if this happens in 20 years or 30 years. I feel sorry for like the TV shows of the time, because like, what would Starsky and Hutch have looked like if they were tooling around in an electric car? Do you catch that reference, Thomas? Do you know what Starsky and Hutch is? The Grand Torino or something, where the cops are out chasing the bad guys, instead of putting around a little electric car. But maybe they can make electric cars to look like muscle cars and act like muscle cars and all that stuff.
Well, so my son had one that had actually the engine sound that comes through the speakers.
Really?
Yeah. So, I think they're gonna. We're Americans. We like raw power and noise and squealing tires and smell of burnt rubber, and
it's gonna be hard.
It's gonna be hard to replace.
Yeah, I could tell when Thomas was you were shaking your head when Thomas was started talking about electric cars. I could tell that's something that you're a purist. You it's going to happen, but you don't really want it to. And
right.
Interesting. So, but other than that, you've been around a few years, and so do you have to do any marketing anymore per se, or is it is it word of mouth? Is it?
No. We have a great book of business that people that are only going to do business with us, but we're always very aggressive in marketing to acquire new business. You've got to stay on top of it. You can't ever get complacent. The day you get complacent is the day you start to die in business. So I'm very aggressive in advertising.
Yeah, good. What about you, Austin? Is it coming out of the gate? Have you been able to do it, or need to do it, or want to do it? Or
well, I won't lie. I've been almost total 100% word of mouth, local referrals, family referrals, stuff like that. Mainly because I'm scared if I start advertising, it's going to grow so fast, so quick that I'm not going to be able to keep up. It's the biggest problem for me right now is finding qualified help. Anyone can find help, so to speak, but as far as like a trained electrician, there's not very many of them. And I don't know what the solution to that is. It's bad business to go and steal them from other people, I feel. So there's only so many of them in Roman. There's not a lot of them in training. So that's my biggest thing is I don't have a good plan in place to grow as fast as I'd like to. And that's something I really need to work at. I need to figure out.
You got a plan for him, Chad?
I don't have a plan, but it's very sad to me that you hear there's not a lot of electricians in training.
Yeah.
Like these guys out here, these young guys, man, they need to understand that taking up a trade is a good thing, man. You don't have to. Not everybody's going to be an attorney or a doctor or need to go to school for 10 years. Sometimes you need to get out in the field and get your hands dirty, and you can earn a ton of money that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Quick,
and that's
too.
actually another benefit to be a part of the chamber, because we advocate for your industry as well. So we just hired a new person at the chamber who's, just in charge of workforce development. So he's going to be the key person between the technical colleges and, the local schools. And, right, it's about skills and trades, and we need those. And, if there's a, key connection in there, to open up the communication, and to tell them, far in advance the benefits of having a trade,
sure.
I think that would be super beneficial for our local economy.
And listen, if we could just post what this guy makes a year, everybody'd want to do it.
Well, says the guy who owns an airplane.
Yeah, airplane's got a parachute on it, right?
Easy.
I need to meet that guy though that y'all just hired. Then I think I did meet him at the orientation, but we need to sit down and talk. I've got a bunch of good connections. Like I went through Georgia Northwestern,
Right,
and I still talk to them all the time. Scott Carter, great guy. He's the main guy with the electrical stuff over there. And we've hired, other companies I've worked for, when we were in need of people, I'd let him know, and he'd send me some of the best in his class that were ready to work. Right. And they'd be great guys. The only problem is there's just not a lot of people going there. And I say that they might have 20 guys in the class right now, but that's not a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a lot of electrical contractors around here. 20 guys, we grab them up real quick.
Well, I'm going to take this opportunity to digress because I do this from time to time. I'm a big Elvis Presley fan. and I know you may think, where the heck is this going? But when Elvis graduated high school, he went to work for a company called Crown Electric in Memphis, Tennessee. But he wanted to be a singer, and he was trying to make his singing career go. Yeah. And his father said, son, you need to be an electrician. I've never seen a guitar player that was worth a damn. And his father said, electricians don't go looking for work. Work comes looking for electricians.
Yep.
And Elvis said, well, I'll continue working at Crown Electric, Daddy, while I pursue music. Now, the music thing worked out. I don't know if y'all heard.
Yeah.
But he was training to be an electrician.
How about that?
So, and the one thing I wanted to ask both of you, and I'm trying to ask this kindly, because consumers stereotypically might have a little bit of trepidation about a car salesman when they walk on a lot, or they might have a little bit of nervousness about a contractor that's coming into their house to do some work. And, we don't know what we're talking about, so we're trusting that y'all know what you're talking about. So kind of how do you overcome that and make your customers feel at ease that you're doing them solid, you're doing right by them?
All right. So listen, when we opened, like I said earlier, we have a Christian company. So honesty is number one for me. I could care less about the money. If you treat the people right, the money comes automatic.
Yep.
And so we just treat the people right. We do things like a 3-day swap on most vehicles. Like if you buy a car from me and you don't like it in 2 or 3 days, bring it back to me. I don't care. Just get another one. Nobody does that. Nobody. And so also we stand behind the engine and transmissions for a couple weeks. Make sure they got a good car. Things like that. I take all the risk. I try to mitigate all the risk out of buying a used car. And there's nobody that does business like that. And so once somebody does business with us, they usually always do business with us in that way.
Great. Austin?
Yeah. And that's a good point you brought up too. We see it all the time. So one thing is I'll tell anybody, get another estimate, get someone else come out. That's fine. I'll stand by what I do, and they might be a few dollars cheaper than me, but I can promise you the product I'm going to give you is going to be a good product.
Right.
So that's one thing I always try to tell people and try to show people. We've got a bunch of references, a phone full of beautiful pictures of beautiful kitchens and bathrooms and houses and everything. So, I like to let my product talk for itself.
Well, word of mouth, that's marketing tool number one. And, that happens out in the street, in a restaurant, with a friend, with a family. But secondly, we are all mobile now. We are checking our phones, and reviews are so important. You check out star ratings, you check out the review, the customers purchasing cars in the past 2 months. What was their experience? And if you trust that website and you trust those reviews, the business comes automatically. And I know you're still in the process of building up, and your books are full right now. But, I strongly recommend to have some kind of, online presence, just, for the reviews.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep, I've got a Facebook page, and I think I've got a Google page set up. I just hadn't started advertising that, and that's one thing I think of every morning. I'm like, man, I need to be getting these people to leave a review, or I need to say, hey, any previous customers, good or bad, just leave a review and let people know how your experience was. And then I get busy and drop the ball on it. But that's one thing I really need to get together.
Well, it's something I found out about reviews. Right, is that sometimes the only time people ever leave a review is if they have some kind of negative experience.
Yeah, that's true.
So a guy will come by. I had a situation. A guy bought a sports car, like an 800 horsepower, super custom car, takes it out to the racetrack, blows it up, leaves me a bad review.
Oh.
So you have those kind of things that are you've done everything right. You've done everything just like you're supposed to do, but the customer sometimes is going to blame you for their mistake, no matter what. Right. It can be a year later sometimes, and something will pop up, and I'll be like, "What is this? What are they talking about?" And I have to have my employees pull the file, and they bought a car a year and a half or 2 years ago, and are complaining because they got to put brakes on it.
Right.
I mean,
right. So, yeah. And sometimes you have to have those bad experiences, within the good reviews, because that's life. Things happen, and if you respond to this accordingly, people trust you. We all go to ups and downs, and
3-day rule for me. I don't ever respond to them in the first 3 days because I get too emotional. Right. Like I give myself 72 hours to let it cook because I don't want to come off.
Don't press send.
Right. I get pretty upset.
And the beautiful thing is it's free, right? Yeah. So you don't have to pay any advertising fees. Yeah. You don't have to create like an ad, or worry about who's spreading your flyers or your information.
Yeah,
it's free. It's super.
One thing I've noticed is a lot of judgment's going to come from a business on how they respond to a bad review as well. Even if the customer's 100% out of line, you can't call them out. Right. You just got to suck it up. You got to. Sorry, you had that experience. Please reach out to us if we can make it better. Please call us. Let us know what we can do to make it right. Even when they took the car out and it caught on fire because they blew it up, just got to suck it up. I know.
Well, we stumbled into something. This is an intriguing topic. Well, as we wrap up here, what's some contact information, website, Facebook, phone numbers? How can people reach out to you to do business? Chad, we'll start with you.
Okay. Our dealership number is 706-237-7668. Our website is honestcardeal.com. You can find us on any social media platform. And listen, if you come by Dean Avenue to rev your engine like everybody else, we'll hear you.
Dean Avenue, either way.
Either way.
That's years and years and years ago, the Falcons used to be at the Swanee exit on I-85, and there was a northbound and a southbound Waffle House. And
man, getting a Waffle House comparison is big time in Georgia. I like it. I like it.
Well, you're on both sides of the street. So, Austin, contact information. How can people reach out to get some electrical work done?
Yes, sir. So, Matthews Lighting and Electric. My phone number is 706-802-7233. You can find us on Facebook, Matthews Lighting and Electric LLC. Give us a call. Be more than happy to come out, look at whatever you need done, give you a price. Just come do it. Whatever you want, we can do it.
And chamber members especially, you're relatively new business in town.
Yep.
Reach out.
Yeah, I know there's a couple other electricians in the group, and sadly I've worked for two of them. I've got the most experience with them. And so
utilize our website. You can drop post search there as well. So ask me if you have any questions.
Yeah, for sure. Look forward to it. Using the website, figuring all that out.
Any final thoughts, Thomas?
Well, I think it was a great group, small, but sometimes it's about the quality. So a great group of guests. Thanks for coming for the first time, live in person. This is awesome.
Everybody's audio sounds great. We're not dealing with the internet and somebody being on a phone or a laptop or on Zoom. This is great.
Thanks for having me again, guys.
Yes.
And then, we always come up with a little theme, of course, I was thinking about it, what we can do right now, like autonomous cars is a little too early, so we don't talk about that yet. But, it's about expertise and experience, so we have expertise, we have experience, and, if we combine those things, we can go into the right direction and grab those opportunities.
See, Thomas always just sums things up with this common thread. He's so eloquent.
He is.
He's good at what he does.
It's
for sure.
the accent. Half of it's the accent. Man, I love that guy's accent.
Yeah, he, as we say down south, he ain't from around here.
Around here.
But he's been great for our community, man.
Yeah, he has.
Well, anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. This was a fantastic show. You've been listening to the Rome Floyd Chamber Small Business Spotlight, broadcasting from the Hardy Realty Studios inside the Manus Business Center, and we work in cooperation with the Rome News Tribune. Thank you so much.